Thank you for joining us for our Business Resiliency series. Today, we are very excited to be here with Michael from Spaceworks. My name is Ashley.
I'm Ariana.
And Michael, to get us started, would you mind sharing kind of an overview of Spaceworks and your role there?
Sure. So my name is Michael Liang, and I'm the Program Director of Spaceworks Tacoma. We are a program of the Tacoma Pierce County Chamber. This is our 10-year anniversary, and we really exist to provide support for artists and creative entrepreneurs here in the city. They don't always have access to traditional resources that other businesses might. So for us, that looks like training, money, space, community. And we offer that through a variety of programs. We started out back in 2010 with window activation, kind of vacancy activation, doing a lot of art installations, but we also did businesses in those spaces. But ultimately, we realized that a lot of those businesses weren't successful in taking on leases. And so we realized that there was a lot of business training that needed to be involved. So that created our incubator program. We've really grown over the years, and now we just provide all these kind of wraparound services for creatives here. I'll also add that that is what we did up until coronavirus. We've absolutely had to pivot. A week and a half ago, we took a hard look at our work plan and just took off, postponed everything that we couldn't do. And because we created more space, it did allow us to kind of take on more projects, more services to help businesses and creatives succeed, or at least stay in business during COVID-19. The first step for us really was just kind of document the need to kind of see what's going on within our community. And then we are kind of connecting people to resources.
I love that. It leads really well into our next question, which is what makes Spaceworks different from any other organization like it or business incubator program?
I see our uniqueness often when I have to apply for grants, because sometimes grants are very discipline specific. It's very unique and interesting to funders. If we applied art grants and they're like, oh, but we're also part of a chamber. For me, I love that kind of multidisciplinary work that we do, and then we get to sit at so many different tables. So far, that's been really honored and valued.
Nothing is really that separate in life, right? So much more true to how it actually is.
And I think something that makes Spaceworks really cool is that you get to work with so many different creative entrepreneurs. So in your work, how have you seen resiliency demonstrated?
You're absolutely right that we work with so many different types of businesses. And in your class, we had a nonprofit, a self-identified queer pagan witch, a sound designer, and each of those bring different perspectives and experiences and talent. And all of them are responding to the same crisis. And in general, I feel like I'm seeing some specific ways businesses are being resilient. One is a level of transparency with their customers about what their struggles. I've seen a lot with Yoga Wild, Tacoma Dance Studio, Stocklist, Fern and Foster, just being really honest about how we can't meet people face to face, how it's hurting our bottom line. And there's a certain amount of vulnerability as a business owner in sharing the fact that you don't know if you can pay your rent, pay your employees, right? And I don't see a lot of people hiding behind pride right now. And I think businesses that can just be open and honest about what they need will probably be more successful. I think there are businesses that are just diving into financial assistance programs, and that requires a fair bit of endurance and tolerance for bureaucracy. I say that as a former federal employee. My background was with the National Park Service. If you have the grit to kind of persevere through that, and don't just expect that someone is going to just give you money without any questions asked or strings attached. I think that those that are going to do a little bit of homework will be successful. And then experimentation, everything from online sales to curb pickups to different delivery services, shifting to virtual performances if you're a musician or a performer. Just that willingness to kind of try anything and everything.
And it's taking shape in so many different forms too, how that can show up for people and how they're kind of working with this to become more resilient and really just in a survival way, kind of just make it through and get onto that other side to figure out what this new normal is going to look like for us. You listed out some great stuff around what people are doing. What would be your top 2 tips for how you create and maintain a resilient business?
It's almost like a mentality, which is just be comfortable to fail fast. This goes to my earlier comment about experimentation. And most of the businesses that we work with are very small, micro businesses, so 5 employees or fewer. Most of them are just one owner, self-employed. And so at that scale, you are able to pivot very quickly in terms of your products and your services. I recognize that is not true for many other small businesses or larger businesses. But if you are in a position to kind of experiment, one of the core tenets of that is, what is the correct scale of, or what's the correct tool that you need for your immediate challenge or immediate problem? And I think sometimes a lot of businesses feel like they need to operate at this scale of we're going to have 500 customers every day, But in reality, they only have 5 customers a day. So what are the tools or the platforms you need just to go from 5 customers to 10 customers? So don't worry about QuickBooks now. Just worry about like Excel. Just create a great Excel spreadsheet. Don't have it. Maybe you don't need a beautiful like Squarespace online store for doing sales. Maybe you just need a PayPal account that people can send you money. And by working with the correct scale, you get to kind of test that. And so when you do grow, you're going to start using systems and platforms that have been tested, I guess, rather than spending a lot of time making this perfect thing that may ultimately not work.
Absolutely. And I love that thought process around it too, because you get like really held up in the perfection of it. Like I can't launch until I have my perfect website, and I can't launch until I do this or do this other thing. And you miss out on that, like that learning piece, that ability to like fail, because you can, right? Like you can spend all that time making it perfect.
Right.
And then it flops.
And I'm guilty of this. Like I love to live in the ideal future. I can spend like so many hours just thinking through and designing the perfect system and not actually testing it out in the market. So I am by no means a good role model for that.
I think especially in the business space, you have this idea of what it should look like. And often we're comparing ourselves to like Fortune 500 companies, right?
Totally.
Like how do they do it? And not like, how do I scale up to like that level one bigger than where I'm at right now, which I think that's a really powerful piece of advice.
Yeah. The other advice I might give is just to, are you familiar with the term to be shovel ready? No, I'm realizing it's actually maybe more industry specific. So the Park Service receives funding from Congress, and every now and again we would like hear like whisperings of new sources of money coming in, a new piece of legislation that was going to get passed, a new fund source, but it would be like months down the line or 2 weeks down the line. It was always like this unknown. So the advice that we were given was to be shovel ready with your projects, meaning that you get your plans in place, you get your staff in place, you get your supplies, equipment in place, so that when the money comes, that you are ready to kind of implement it like the next day. So I say that because there are all these loan programs and grants that are coming down from the local, state, and federal level, but we also know that they're a couple weeks out, a month out, but we know that they're coming. And so if you can, in the meantime, if you can get your documents in order, like your tax returns, your monthly expenses for the past year, your business plan, a listing of all your debts and assets, like we know that those are things that lenders are going to be asking for. So might as well do that now, so that you're ready to take advantage when the applications become open.
I think it ties really well with that first tip, in that it's investing your time and your effort into action that is going to make a difference.
That's something I've been thinking a lot of when you're kind of leading through crisis. There's too many demands for your time and attention. Then our days, or hours in the day. I'm tired, words aren't working anymore, right? And so you have to kind of triage.
It's totally true. The smaller your business is, the easier it can be to like pivot and meet that new need. Because as things develop, like that need that you have for your business and the need of your customers is gonna shift. Just being able to figure out like what is that step that's gonna get me through like the next month or 2 months or 3 months, and not necessarily the end of next week, because then you're still in major crisis mode, right?
Totally, right. I'll offer that the Chamber has a free webinar series on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays that I found to be really, really good, because they are bringing in leaders from the Small Business Administration, from the Health Department, the mayor will speak, we get our elected officials from Congress that will be presenting, and to just kind of hear what that response is at that top level. For me, that's been helpful because it helps provide some context to some more of the like loans that are coming out, some other kind of resource programs.
Definitely. And I appreciate that they're doing it often, because things are changing so quickly. And it's nice to have like a go-to source that is kind of keeping up and is reliable.
Right.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Absolutely.